Welcome to DAExMachiNation. Join us as we explore the mysteries of this world. Cryptids, monsters, macabre tales, and horror stories abound. Could they be true? Are monsters real?
Good evening, folks, and thank you all for joining us on another edition of DAExMachiNation. In the house with me tonight is Robbie Jed Rains from South Crackalaki. Doc is out in Las Vegas teaching classes, putting birthdays in boxes for folks. And Steve is working tonight, so you just have to put up with the two of us idiots tonight. And we've got some awesome guests tonight. We've got TRESSA and JENI from Monsters Lounge. And if you guys have not checked out their channel, you need to. They've got some awesome videos. They cover a wide range of topics, everything from the Loch Ness Monster to UFOs and ghosts. So check them out and let's show them some love and see if we can get their channel some subscribers. Don't cost you a nickel to hit like and subscribe, so please do. And without further ado, I'm going to let these two ladies introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about themselves. Y'all go right ahead.
Hi, I'm Jenny.
And I'm TRESSA.
And we are both parts of Monsters Lounge. We're both very interested in the paranormal. Specifically high strangeness, cryptids, UFOs, aliens, all the weird stuff, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we like to talk about it. So we talk about it on Tuesdays.
Yeah, mostly we like to hear about it from our guests.
Yeah, that's true. We like to talk about it, but we're usually wrong.
Yes, that's true.
So, yeah.
One thing we always say on this channel is there are no experts in this field. And anybody that says they are is lying.
No, that's true. But there are dummies in this field, and it's us.
There are plenty of those. And I think that that's funny y'all would say that, but there are some real oddballs in this field, and they sometimes take more attention away from the people that are actually doing research. But you know, that's one of the things that we have to learn to live with in this field. But hey, you know, you take the good with the bad.
Always.
Yeah, do you know what's up with everybody's names being changed in the chat? Everybody's been talking about it.
I think it's something not Amazon. I think it's something YouTube did, because I noticed earlier when Eric was live on his channel that the names were all screwed up, and they are in ours as well. So I think YouTube has probably instituted some sort of change they didn't bother to tell anybody about. So that'd be my guess.
Okay, I was just curious because everybody's asking about it, and I didn't have an answer.
Yeah, what does? Trust me. So what got you two interested in you know, the occult and, you know, paranormal and ghosts and goblins and ghouls and all things that go bump in the night?
For me personally, I think that it has a lot to do with my very Christian upbringing, because the Bible's full of the weirdest, crazy, creepiest stuff and miracles. And, you know, if you concentrate too much on that, you're a weirdo. And that was me. And, I always just was very curious about it. You got In Search Of with Leonard Nimoy. It was such a small community way back when, and to watch it grow is just fascinating to me. Like, what's going on? I don't understand that. And that's also paranormal. It's not, but it's not. No.
That's a leap.
It's funny you mentioned Leonard Nimoy's In Search Of, but y'all look way too young to remember those. Those were out when I was a kid.
Stop. Oh, just stop.
Yeah, I was a kid. I
love that coffee mug. That is wicked.
Thank you very much. This is part of the reason why I'm into the paranormal.
That mug.
When I got that mug, it was all over. No, I grew up not with Christianity, but I grew up on folklore and myth and fairy tales, and a strong belief that there was magic out there, you know, raised by Henson and Unsolved Mysteries and my grandparents out in the woods. So it started then with all of the ideas that spring from so many different tales. And I was
you guys had any paranormal experiences of your own?
Yes, both of us have. TRESSA?
Okay. This is something I haven't talked a lot about, but I saw when I was in high school, we used to go on road trips all the time because I grew up in Omaha, Nebraska, and there was nothing to do there. So on my way to Lincoln one night, friends and myself watched lights chase each other in the sky, and I blew it off. I was like, well, I saw that and that was weird, but no one said anything, so I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. And then my friend was like, did you see that? And I was like, yes, I absolutely saw that. That was not right. And there have been other experiences, but that's the one I don't talk about. So you're welcome.
Yeah, that is the one you don't talk
Yeah.
about. I think I've only heard that once.
Yeah.
Look at you, you lucky gents.
I kind of had sort of a similar. It wasn't lights chasing each other, but it was definitely a light that jumped around and was all over the place. I was down in Missouri. I was at a BFRO outing. I was teaching a tracking class with Mary Ann Zabel, and we actually went out one night when we were, out looking for tracks and looking to having a Bigfoot encounter. And her husband is the big skeptic of the group. He's never had a Bigfoot encounter, things like that. So where we were at, we was walking along the river, and it was right along next to a parking area, and he had kind of turned and walked up towards this little flat area on the up above the parking lot, and we're all kind of like looking in areas for tracks and tree breaks and things like that. And he says, "Hey, y'all want to see a weird light?" Oh yeah, sure. We all walk up there, and he points it out and looks, and DA will tell you, because I was trying to call him and he got kind of upset or worried because my call I had perfect signal and my call dropped in the middle of it just for no reason. But we look out, and I estimate this is probably about a mile away, but there's no way to tell. But this white light is just like doing stuff like like this all over the place. It's white. There's no red lights, no green lights. So obviously it's not an airplane. Plus it would, in my estimation, it would travel the length of 2 football fields, like here to here, just like that. And I'm like, that's not an airplane. And then it would go straight up and do like loops. It was weird. We sat there and watched that thing. What I tell you, DA, for like almost 3 hours.
Oh wow!
And it just, but it would back and forth, up, down. It looked like it would come closer and then go away, but who knows how. I still to this day have no clue what that was or what I looked at.
And when an airplane and how an airplane moves, and when it's moving so quickly and sharply, that's not an airplane.
I had an experience very similar to that, but it was much shorter. It was only about 4 or 5 minutes, but moving the exact same way.
Yeah, very erratic, no pattern, no anything. And there was another guy that was with us, or there was actually 2 sets of people. One of the kids was a what do they call it, ufologist? Is that what? So he was down there because he was just getting interested in Bigfoot, but he had all his little gadgets and stuff with him. He brought one of those scanners out, and I was telling DA about it. He said, "Yeah, I've heard of one of those," and it's supposed to scan from like 100 megahertz all the way up to 900 megahertz and continually scan. And before we saw that light, he checked everything, and it was scanning. It was picking up airplanes, and we actually had watched a satellite just like maybe 10, 15 minutes before that fly over. Nice linear straight line, just moving, constant speed. So we'd seen a plane go over, red and green lights flashing, and then this thing comes up, and his scanner stopped going from 100s and 900s, and it would ping from 200 to 400 and back to 200, and it just constantly rolled back and forth in between that megahertz. So the other guy comes up with a FLIR, and he gets it on the FLIR, but there's no heat signature, so there's no electronics on it at all, or at least nothing that was pulling out a heat signature.
Oh wow! Yeah,
Faults. I don't know because I have no clue what it was.
Yeah. The only experience that I've had is just one, so I tell the story constantly. So you're welcome for the repeat. I was out. I'm in love with national parks. I love being outside. I love being in the wilderness, and all of that, like cryptids, cryptozoology, and folklore. Again, my favorite things in the whole wide world. So of course, I'm out in Utah in Moab, going to see arches and canyonlands, and I'm asking everyone, because of the location, who's seen a skinwalker? You know, because that's what you do when you're in
No,
that
it's not.
territory. Is
No.
they say the name
Mm-mm.
a lot, and if you say the name a lot,
Mm-mm. You don't do
it
that.
stays away from you.
Nope.
Is
That's
what
the
I've
opposite
heard.
thing that
I
happens.
think it just goes the other way.
Nope.
No.
Mm-mm.
Oh, that's right. It comes behind you.
DA,
Right,
I'm sensing Jenny's
right,
a lot like
right.
me in the outdoors, don't you?
Yeah, Robbie's the one that likes to poke the bear.
Yeah.
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 DA's son is actually what we call the Robbie Wrangler because he has to stay within arm's reach of me to grab me and drag me back into the
No, I get
into
it.
the safety.
I get it. We always called it Little Jenny in a Big, Big World because I have a tendency to wander. Anyway, so of course, when you're out there, you go into the parks at night to see the stars because why wouldn't you? And so it's about midnight and out in Arches. I'm like, you know what? I was with 3 other people and I'm like, you know what, guys? I'm going to walk a little bit a ways from everybody and any kind of lights that are coming in. And I'm just going to meditate under the stars. It's going to be a beautiful experience. I'm going to feel so soul filled when I come back. And I started walking, and then the back of my neck, the hair started to prick up a little bit, and I just get this real bad feeling. And I look, and probably about 15 feet ahead of me, something large and sort of a Morpheus shaped, you know, like dark, and just sort of skittered across the path. And I noped right out of there real quick, like, and just the malevolent feeling that was happening was
nuts.
So I ran away.
There's no shame in that game. I've done it myself. We've been in some places where things started getting pretty intense, and there's a couple of situations where we've actually backed out with our weapons drawn.
Oh,
hello.
Was it a bank, and were you robbing it?
No, nothing like that. There's an old abandoned campground here in Missouri called Combs Ferry, and the Army Corps of Engineers owns it. And they, we're not exactly 100% sure why they closed it, but they did, and they went so far as to bulldoze it off so people can't get in there. And we'd been hearing about strange activity in there for a while. So last summer, when Robbie was in town, we took a boat and took an expedition across the lake into that abandoned campground. And we ended up pulling out of there with our weapons drawn.
Whoa.
That's
we got ran out of there pretty much.
Well,
yeah.
Paint the picture a little bit better than that. You know, we thought we were going to have a pontoon, but they were only able to get the bass boat. So when he brought everybody over, he can only take, plus the driver, 3 at a time.
Yeah.
So me, DA, and Noah were his son were the first 3 there. So when he came back, he was like, "Well, you know, when he's going to pick us up, we need to take 2 at a time because you know that's a lot of weight." But so this is like, you know, a 10-minute ride from the dock to the island where we're dropping off, and then so when you get dropped off, you got to wait for him to go back to the dock, pick somebody else, and come back up. So we were there about 20 minutes. With just 3 of us.
And we started getting activity as soon as the boat pulled out. I mean, he wasn't 10 yards off the shore, and we already had things moving toward us and throwing rocks at us.
So fast forward,
my son was hearing grunts on the parabolic, and we sat there basically in the dark, didn't even light up our lights until the boat came back with the next 2, and took 3 trips to get us all in. And every time we got more people on the ground, they backed up a little farther. And we found some interesting evidence that night, including part of a dismembered deer that was hung in a tree at head level. Directly across the trail from it was a fish that had been torn in half and stuck in a tree branch.
I mean, even if there's nothing paranormal involved or any sort of Bigfoot or any sort of cryptid whatsoever, that's a sure sign to maybe go
leave.
Yeah. And that's what we took it as, that it was a territorial warning. And as soon as we passed that point,
warning,
they got aggressive. They got real aggressive.
Oh, yeah. That would scare me. I would probably take up cold water swimming real quick.
Well, the channel right out from off the tip of that peninsula, because the campground's on a peninsula. The channel right out off the tip of that peninsula is about 280 feet deep.
All right, that's fine. Just go.
I'm not that great of a swimmer, and it was a long way across the lake.
Yeah, that's a hard one. I don't know. I don't like swimming, but come on.
I'd be waving to you from the water.
No, Jenny, wait.
I had to have left a lot of gear behind to tread water because we were all carrying a lot of gear.
She would leave it for me. That's fine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got into some kind of, pardon the pun, hairy experiences.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously, it sounds like we have not.
Enjoy it.
I don't know. There have been a few cons where it's been touch and go.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I've had some weird experiences at conventions too.
Yeah.
So, what is the most scary experience you've had?
Me personally was in a haunted location in Iowa. I was in the area, decided to stop by because Dave Schrader and Jeff Belanger were there, and I was like, "Hey, I'm right here. What's going on, guys?" And I took the tour with them, and I started to get my chest started to get tight, and then my throat started to get tight, and then it started to get so tight that I couldn't breathe in the middle of this investigation with many, many people. It was a group tour. I decided I needed to leave the house, and the further I got from the house, the more the tightness loosened up, and it was like a gauge for how close I was to the house, to how tight my throat was getting.
Mhm.
So, not necessarily scary. Ghosts don't scare me, but that was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And
I feel like that was a warning or an attack.
I don't think it was an attack. I think it was just basically, listen, I'm here. Don't just stop. Like you guys aren't cute. This is my place. Just get out. All right.
I have a theory on that.
Mhm.
I have a theory on what happened to you that I was no part of, nor was I anywhere close by.
Do tell.
So you had just been sort of trying to open yourself up a little bit to more of the, I guess, sensitivities.
Yes.
That you have, and I think wrong time, wrong place.
Yes, that
wrong
part.
mindset.
I did sit down and say, I'm going to open myself up to any sort of thing that's in here. I'm going to feel it fully. And I did. So
She did. She did. She stopped feeling immediately after that.
yeah, I have no emotions anymore.
Nope.
Say,
Shut it down.
it's supposed to be a bad thing when you say I'm opened up for all this. I mean,
Well, I was open up to like feeling what was the experience. Yeah, I'm an idiot. I'll admit it freely. Yes.
Are you familiar with what they call the hitchhiker effect?
Say
Sorry?
again?
Are you familiar with what they call the hitchhiker effect?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When something like that attaches itself to you and follows you home?
Oh yeah, I'm familiar. That doesn't concern me. Not with that situation.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I mean, that's I believe in the paranormal, but I don't go looking for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I spray her with sage every time she walks into my house. And then I throw crystals at her just in case.
Yeah, every day.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
It gets really weird, but
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
it's good.
DA had something attached to him one time. Where did it come
Yeah,
from?
land between the lakes.
Oh yeah. So,
I was at a cemetery in the LBL in
Go
the middle
figure.
of the night, and it followed me home back to Missouri.
See, that stuff terrifies me. That is terrifying to me.
but see, that was the same one I was at too, right? Yeah, and I just get stalked by a dog.
I was there alone, so I may have opened myself up for something.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Not the brightest thing to do. I don't advise going into the north part of LBL 2:00 in the morning by yourself. But I'm that idiot. I did that, and for a while I had something attached to me. It was so bad that I would like. I live in town. I don't live out in the country. I wish I still did, but I live in town, and it was so bad that I would let my dog out at night to go to the bathroom. And I've got a pretty big backyard, and there's a house behind the fence behind me, so it's not like I don't have people around me. And he would not leave the porch light. He would not you go out into the dark at all. He'd do his business and run right past me back in the house. And after about a week of that, I was feeling like there was something at the back of the house that had been watching me. I'd like something was staring at me, and I'd shine a light back there and not see anything. And but I just had this overwhelming feeling that was there. And a buddy of mine is Navajo, and we've known each other for a long time. And he called me. He said, "I had a dream about you." I'm like, "Oh, that doesn't sound good." He said, I feel like there's a bad presence that has attached itself to you. And I'm like, "Are you serious?" Because I think I do. And I explained the situation to him, and he said, "Yeah, you definitely do." And he helped me perform a blessing way, and it went away.
Oh,
Yeah.
Thank God for blessings.
Yeah. I almost feel like people who, I don't know, people who don't tap into sort of that sensitive side, like have almost like a riskier chance of that kind of deal, just because, like I'm a big dummy and I walk in and I'm like, this is cool. Like I'm not seeing anything. So there's no precautions taken, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's the precautions that I always forget to do that are very important. You need to go in there present and fully aware, and with your bubble. You need your psychic bubble so you can't get that attachment. But I don't know anyone that actually remembers to do it.
Yeah. Especially
we do occasionally, not always.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're so excited in the heat of the moment, we're just ready to just take off and go.
Yeah.
But sometimes we're actually, hey, maybe we ought to take a few precautions with this one.
Yeah.
I tell you, Robbie, where we've got to start taking those precautions is in Moon Valley. We have got to start doing something to keep ourselves safe out there, because that valley is just evil.
Yeah.
Remind me not to go to Moon Valley.
You don't have to tell them, though, because they're both like,
well, for years, people have talked about seeing ghost lights floating down the river, and there's been Bigfoot sightings, and there was even Ozark Howler sighting down there about 20 years ago. And you can Google this, you can look it up yourself. Look up the Dallas County cannibals, and there were two guys that lived in that valley that were killing and eating people.
And you decided this was a fun place.
Camp there long before I ever heard about the cannibals.
Let's just go.
I've been going there since I was a kid, and now that valley will give you the heebie-jeebies. There's something dark in that valley.
Oh, I'm sure. People ate people there.
Yeah. And from what we were able to dig into, it goes deeper than just the two that went to prison, and it may possibly involve them selling human flesh on the dark web.
Who's buying that?
No, that's not something you want to know.
Folks out there. Yeah, I don't want to say too terribly much, because I don't know how much I should say, but I was quietly warned by a guy I used to work with at the sheriff's department that maybe I might want to drop this.
Oh, I don't like that.
I'm a retired cop.
Yeah,
I was told I want to walk away from this one.
Yeah, when you're told that, just heed that advice.
And like Hillary said, there's another. This place is just like, one-stop shop for everything. There's this little doll village. What would you call it?
Like a doll village in the middle of nowhere.
That's for sure.
Walk in and slowly turn around.
According to the locals, if you drive by that doll village at night, then turn around and come back, things will have moved.
Yeah, no. That's why you don't go into places called doll villages.
No.
It's not like where you could get out and walk to it. It's actually behind a fence in the woods on the gravel road that leads down into Moon Valley.
Doll village is what you're
and
saying.
There's not even any houses around it. It's just in the middle of the woods.
Then no one should go.
Those dolls.
Well, you kind of got to drive by it. The only road in and out of that valley goes right by it.
There's only one that goes all the way through on both sides.
Stay away from the valley.
We were driving through last time, and I was like, Doc, there's as we go by it, mock Jesus, like I like to say. Doc's like, nope.
Even look at it.
But anyway, that so you got all that stuff that happens there, and then you got a heavy cryptid presence there. So the last time we were there, it was DA, me, Doc, and DA son Noah. So Doc and Noah are kind of backing closer to the vehicle, and me and this idiot are like 20, 30 yards ahead of them, walking up the trail past the old parking lot. Doc's got his thermal vision or his thermal on, and so these two heat signatures, two big heat signatures right in front of me and him. So, whoa, boys, back, stop, stop. Because we're walking right into it. But what got that started is we get there and DA we've kind of speculated that a lot of the wood knocks that people hear are not always necessarily, wood on wood. DA can do a really loud tongue click, and
I have to turn off my my sound filter. Give me a second. I'm going to shut Crisp off because my noise filter shuts it down. But we kind of come up with this theory that not all of what they call wood knocks are actually wood on wood. Not saying all of them are this, but I think a good chunk of them are.
Oh.
And I can do that really loud.
What got us on?
That was nothing. If you get me out in the woods, you'll hear it echo down the valley.
Oh, he almost completely shut down the Pigeon Forge
Bigfoot conference.
Me and him are sitting there talking to Eli from Small Town Monsters, and you know how y'all been to conferences. You know how loud and people talking. Mm-hmm. He did that, and everybody within a 40 or 50 foot radius of us just stopped and looked at us like, "What was that?"
Mm-hmm. Nice.
So do you think that that's some sort, like the vocalization is some sort of communication, like back and forth, like an earlier primary form or primitive form of language without actually having language?
We think that it's a form of communication, but we also have started speculating. We've always thought about, that they live a lot of their life in the caves, which is a good good reason that we don't see a whole lot of them. Maybe that's another reason you don't find any of the remains, things like that. So
also, if you look at the missing 411s, when he talks about the clusters of disappearances, if you take the map of the missing 411 clusters of people and overlay it with a map of cave systems, it lines up perfectly.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, not only that, but then you have all sorts of they're ancient structures, right?
Yep.
So
but you start looking and factoring all that stuff in. We were talking about it one night, and it just hit me. Years before, I was watching a Discovery Channel show where this guy was completely blind, had been born blind, but had taught himself to echolocate by clicking his tongue. So we got to talking. I'm like, well, if they're spending a lot of time down in these caves,
complete darkness,
can echolocate, whales can echolocate. Why couldn't they learn to do that? So we just started kind of building on that theory. If they're in all these deep, dark, subterranean, underground caves, they would need something like that to be able to move around or to communicate with, ones that
makes
were
a lot of sense.
Mm.
Again, we don't think it's 100% of what they do. We've heard rock clacks, we've heard wood on wood sounds, but I think it makes more sense that they quickly can do it with their tongue instead of walking around with a Louisville Slugger over their shoulder waiting for somebody to tap out Morse code to them.
Right.
But so I said all that to say, we get there that night and DA does a couple tongue clicks. We don't hear nothing. So Doc, he had already kind of figured out what owls were in the area versus, so he does a couple of owl calls from non-indigenous owls. Nothing. I did a couple whoops. Nothing. Well, DA walks down beside me. I said, I want to try something. He said, what do you want to try? I said, I want to try a wolf howl, but not a actual wolf howl. He said, go for it. So I just cleared my lungs and brought in as much as I could and just did a loud, like a man that was doing a wolf howl. You know where I'm going with this without actually saying but the second, and he'll tell you, the second that I finished, we got a response to the exact same owl call that Doc had just done a minute before.
And it's not a local owl. It was an owl from the West Coast.
But it's
fascinating.
That thing, the 1,000-pound owl, you could tell it was, it was, whatever did it was massive, had a.
And right after that, they came in on us. We got rushed.
So basically what we've theorized is that I went in and challenged them with the wolf owl.
We believe that Dogman and Bigfoot don't get along. And if they hear a wolf call or a Dogman-like call, they're going to come see what it is. We've got a recording that was made about 5 miles from where Robbie lives that we're convinced is a Dogman. And we're planning on an expedition back down to Moon Valley, and we're going to play that over a Bluetooth speaker, play it as loud as we can. But we're going to take more than just the 4 of us this time. Would you guys like to hear that? Would you guys like to hear that Dogman recording?
I would, just as soon as I clarify, you're going back to the evil valley of the dolls, where people ate people.
I never once said we were the brightest bulbs in the past.
Okay.
But that's kind of what we do. And there are other places here and not too far away. We've got one location I haven't gone to yet because the story I was told was that Missouri Department of Conservation actually opened fire on some creatures that charged them. And I haven't gone down there because I haven't gotten a group together yet. I'm not going down there by myself.
No, please don't. I appreciate it. You seem like a very nice gent. Let's not do that.
Yeah, I don't want to become, Dogman chow or whatever.
Oh, you'd be cat chow at that location.
That's true. The description that Missouri Department of Conservation gave was bipedal mountain lions.
Oh,
I've never heard that anywhere before. But I also know that region they're talking about, and it is extremely dense woods in the Mark Twain National Forest.
Are they tan like mountain lions?
Yeah, they look like upright mountain lions.
Huh. Okay.
I don't think I've ever heard of that before.
It's a pretty interesting story. But if you want to hear that Dogman howl, I've got it set up.
Yes, please.
Here we go.
Here we go.
That was recorded on a Ring doorbell camera about, was it 5 or 10 miles from where you're at, Robbie?
Yeah, probably closer to 10.
A Ring doorbell camera. That's wild. Oh my God.
And even though it wasn't close, you can still tell it was something big.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. There's power behind
We've played that on the show a few times. People that are in chat will say, "Hey, I don't know exactly what that is, but my dog just cleared out of the room when that played." Or other people, Robbie's cat went under the bed first time we played it around his cat.
Let's see where the cat is. See where the cat is.
Mother loving.
Oh my! He's hiding in the corner with a bat.
Where did he even get that?
God, I don't know.
That's weird.
Oh, I knew I shouldn't have given him access to my Amazon account. Yeah.
The bat cat.
Yeah. We really did check to see what the animals were doing, but my animals are like me, oblivious.
Well, my dogs have heard it so much they don't even care anymore.
They're like, we know it's not real.
Yeah, whatever.
I generally have headphones in, but the time I played it on my speakers in here in my office. I've got a dog bed over here just to my left where my pit bull mix will come in and sleep while I'm working, and he looked up at me and took off. He went in the living room with Mama.
Listen, that poor dog. Is this the same dog that was like huddling on the porch and like running back in? Listen.
Yeah, it's him. He's not the bravest dog in the world.
Yeah. Why don't we give him some treats very soon?
He's our very own Scooby-Doo. I mean, yeah, he's a great dog, but he is a chicken.
Aw.
Oh, Harley.
Yeah.
He's getting a little long in the tooth. He ain't a fighter no more. Of course, he never really was, but now he's like, no, I think I'd just rather, sleep and eat. You guys can handle the tough stuff.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't?
Seriously.
I would rather sleep and eat too.
Yeah. That's a really interesting theory though, with the tongue clicks, right? Like that's kind of fascinating. And you wouldn't think about it. And because my brain immediately goes like, listen to how silly this is, right? My brain goes, oh, no. But like there's certain portions of the skull that allow for that to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
The echolocation. And then I remembered that we've never actually seen a skull. So
wait, are you saying that? Wait, I don't understand that you mean that there's parts of the skull that let that happen.
Yeah, there's like a special, I believe, like a special organ, right? In the.
But
there's
is that
maybe
for like?
I would think there have to be
I don't know.
Because there are humans that do that verbally.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
I would think that would be probably a good estimation, because like I said, that guy was born blind and he taught himself to tongue click because they set up a little course, obstacle course, and he rode
a bicycle through it,
clicking it.
Right, but I feel like that's like the outlier as opposed to like the norm for.
Yeah, I wouldn't think that would be a normal thing. I would think that would be something that.
Oh, wait, hold on. I still don't understand what you're saying. Humans don't usually use sonar.
But when we lose one sensory organ, the others tend to get more acute to pick up for it. So the fact that the guy's blind, it may make his hearing, all the more equipped to deal with that.
A lot of times, yes. A lot of times the hearing gets, you get better hearing, but that also means you hear everything and it's hard to focus on a specific sound. Yeah. So echolocation is especially difficult because you're picking up everything. So humans aren't going to have sonar. They're going to use their own voices to hear and listen. Yeah. Which I would imagine would be Bigfoot's thing too.
Oh, I got where you're going with that.
Yeah, I don't claim to know how it works. I just think that
because I do immediate biology, but
it might be something that they're just using the timing. Like if they make a click in a cave and it bounces back immediately from one direction, they know there's a wall over there. But if it echoes for a while the other direction, they know they've got a cave, a cavern that direction.
We should ask one next time we run into it.
Yeah, it'd be nice to know.
Yeah, just Ryan. That's the Daredevil thing. That's pretty much, the lore of Daredevil in the comic books. Was he lost
basically his heightened senses,
so everything else went into overdrive, like Tressa was saying. And he had to teach himself to focus. That's why in the movie, and I hate using the movie as a reference point, but that's why he slept in that what you call
deprivation tank.
Where
sensory deprivation tank.
It was completely dark and soundproof and everything, just because he had to train himself how to focus, and it's so mentally taxing and draining on him that he had to sleep like that just so he could rest.
Boy, howdy. If anyone has ADHD, they know it. You hear and see everything.
But yeah, I like the idea too that they're in that they're using caves at least as some sort of like transit.
Well, one of the things they've discovered recently about the Mammoth Cave system in Tennessee and Kentucky is the USGS now believes it stretches as far north as Maine and as far south as southern New Mexico.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're just still discovering new species.
Yeah, they don't even know how deep they go.
Fossils in there. Yeah.
And
they just found those sharks.
Yep.
And of that, we've mapped 2% of it. Now, what you said, DA?
Thereabouts.
I think it's 7.
Still,
well, if it's as big as they think, it's probably not 7 anymore.
It's such a tiny amount.
It's like the oceans.
Yeah,
exactly.
Do you want to talk about the oceans?
I know you do.
Yeah. I watched your show about sharks, so we'll. If you guys want to talk about sharks, Robbie's your guy. He's.
Oh, that's a Robbie's really nice one. Yeah, that's great. Where'd that come from?
Buddy of mine knew how much I like sharks, and a friend of his had found it cave diving. I think this one came from New Mexico, maybe.
Really?
I want to say he said New Mexico. I can't ask him because he's no longer with us. He died.
Oh no. Okay.
But he knew how much I like sharks, and he gave me that. So
that is a beautiful example. I love that.
Robbie's our shark man.
Nice.
Yeah.
Listen.
That was what I want before. Before I took the illustrious job of, public safety and law enforcement, I wanted to be a marine biologist with specialization in sharks, but I suck at math, so.
Nice. Yeah, same, except for I dropped out of college. So.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the shark guy.
What's your favorite shark?
Great white.
Really? Why?
Jaws. I mean that's
all right.
Now, but that's if you take that out of it, because that was number one. But since I've really gotten into it and learned a lot about sharks, I would have said tiger shark maybe maybe 10 years ago,
Okay.
but the bull shark is just so versatile and can do so much more, and is, you know, probably, you know, if you look at every shark attack throughout just the United States, most of them get blamed on either the tiger shark or the great white. When
No,
9
it's
times
bull
out of
shark.
10, it's probably a bull shark that's doing
Yeah.
it. And
Yeah.
Mattawan Creek, that they caught that juvenile great white shark, which is what, if anybody doesn't know, that's the thing that Peter Benchley used to pretty much write Jaws. That was his template. And but the shark that killed those people in the creek, I believe with all my heart that was just a bull shark. And they caught that
crazy.
They caught that great white, the young great white, at the edge of of it. But bull sharks just, they found them so far away from, the ocean. It's not even. It's just, they call
They
them.
believe there's a population of them in the Great Lakes.
Well, you've heard, if you've ever heard of Zambezi sharks, that's a bull shark. That's just what they call them in Africa.
Yeah.
They're in the Ganges River in India,
Mhm.
and there are, India doesn't report shark attacks, but they drive those big trams all over the place with 5 million people hanging off the sides of the tram. Them things fall over in the water. There's not a lot of them people come out because there's so many bull sharks in there that,
It was just a few years ago they caught a 6-foot bull shark in St. Louis. A guy caught it fishing right near the confluence of the Missouri and the Mississippi.
They have evolved to survive on a minute amount of salinity. It's insane.
They've got that gland that can process, and that's why I've seen sharks are like the real world version of werewolves to me. I've seen every cheesy B movie shark movie that's ever come out. But as far as like your prototypical shark, so to speak, I kind of partial to the oceanic white tip, because I think that was that's a shark that doesn't get a whole lot of credit.
I'm a big fan of the black tip reef shark myself. I enjoy them so very, very much.
I mean, that's probably one of the most populous species there is. I mean, any reef system, you're going to see them there, and they're when you think shark, that's the shape, that's the look that most people, when they in their mind when they pull up a shark, a black tip reef shark's shape, that's what it's going to come up. They're, and like what's the name of that in the Caribbean, that big popular shark diving, Stews, I think, or Stewart Cove, that's it.
Okay.
They've got pretty much a population of black tip reef sharks that have been there. I mean, they've got all these sharks named. They're reef divers that take people out to them. I mean, they know like every single shark within that reef, because they've been there for years. They've seen like pups come and be born, go through the whole set. So it's just a whole generation and generation and generation of these black tip reef sharks that people have got to go and swim with. So
they're so cool. Goblin shark, I'm a big fan of that one. That one's phenomenal because that one just looks like a crazy,
the one that can shoot its jaws out.
And it looks like a for real alien.
Yep.
Yeah. So do you believe Megalodon's still running around?
I believe it's 100% possible, because like we said, there's,
me too.
Of the world is 76% water,
something like that.
And you could stack 3 Empire State Buildings on top of one another inside the Marianas Trench and still never see them. So I mean,
I was talking to a guy not too long ago who was a former Navy sonar crewman, a sonar operator. He was on an attack boat. He wouldn't tell me which boat, but he told me he was on an attack sub, nuclear attack sub, and they were leaving the sub pins in California, and he was on the set, and he kept picking up sounds of something behind the sub, and they were at depth, And so he called the cob, or the chief of the boat, the chief in charge, called him over and says, I got something behind us. And he's like, you think it's another sub? And he goes, well, let me check. So he starts listening. And he said, no, this thing sounds biological. And he's like, oh, it's probably just a whale, but keep half an eye on it. 3 days later, when they were out almost to the Marianas Trench, it was still behind them and never surfaced. So it was not a whale. A whale would have had to surfaced. And he said from the size of it, when it peeled off and it went deep, he estimated it was bigger than the sub.
Wow.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And that's a big sub.
Mm-hmm.
And how many of those stories are out there that we just don't even know about? Because
Probably more than we know, because most of those submariners do not talk about crap because they're classified.
Sure.
Well, and when we had Heath on, you told Heath that story, and he said, "Yeah, I'm sure there's probably 20 or 30% more of those stories out there than that."
Heath was an old submariner.
So yeah, I 100% believe that it could possibly still. I hope it is still out there, but I think it's definitely possible. But I think it probably is, because and this is my argument of that. Is people are like, well, why hadn't we seen it? This is just like, the people who say that, oh, I've been a hunter all my life and I ain't never seen Bigfoot. Yeah, you hunt in one particular spot for most of your life, and if that spot's not a spot they go to, then yeah, you're not going to see them.
Yeah.
Once you get out of the shipping lanes, and most of the aerial travel ways and travel paths will pretty much follow the shipping lanes when they go across the ocean. But once you get out of those shipping lanes, it's uncharted territory. That's why so many planes that go down.
Yeah. Not only is it uncharted, but like you don't quite realize it's like a national park, right? Like you don't quite realize the vastness until you see it. And then you realize, oh, good God. Like when we were driving to the ape cave.
Yeah.
Like we drove for an hour, 2 hours through woods, and it was just national park.
Well, what people don't realize is there's like 88.6 million acres of just national parks.
Right.
Now, when you add to that state parks, wildlife management areas, public use areas, places that are still considered, parks, but aren't part of the national parks. Right. And then you add in national forests and Bureau of Land Management lands. Once you add all of that in, we're looking at 1 billion, and I mean billion with a B, of acres that we're not fully allowed access to.
Right. Yeah. And it's the same thing with the ocean, right? Except for more
on a bigger scale.
Because on a bigger scale, and because so few people have access. I mean, you mentioned the Mariana Trench, but there's also what is it, the Tonga Trench as well. Mm-hmm. That's nearly just as deep, and we know next to nothing. Did you want to talk about oceans some more?
I'm good.
No, okay.
I think there's one in the Atlantic too. I believe they call it the Laurentian Abyss.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how deep that one is, but it's deep.
Yeah. Well, they're all deep, right?
Yeah. Yeah. When you're talking about 3 or 4 miles deep, that's a lot of water.
Wait, what is it?
I think I saw it in a commercial.
Maybe
I read a headline. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Anywho, the ape caves were really cool. Everyone should go.
So tell us about the ape caves.
Ape caves are amazing because it's not a tour guided, lit up, like you paid $15 to. It's just you going through a cave.
And a recommendation to have a headlamp.
Yes, you need a headlamp.
We recommend that you bring some sort of light source into this pitch
gloves
area.
Some good shoes.
Maybe. No map.
No. You're gonna get lost.
Yeah.
And that's half the fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was, and it's not a regular, like when I say regular, what I'm used to, cave with stalactites and stalagmites. It was made by lava shooting its way through the mountain. Yeah. So it's a completely different structure than.
So it's an old lava tube.
Yeah. It comes down off of Mount St. Helens is where it's located.
That area is really squatchy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, is that
We
is
were
that
just talking
called-
about that area not too long ago. We did a show on missing park rangers, and there have been several park rangers go missing on
Oh, yeah.
Rainier.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Is that called Ape Cave because it's somewhere near Ape Canyon? Is that
It's close. It's just on the. It's just not on the other side, but it's very very close to.
so? It's connected to that area then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Put that on
The
the
Ape
bucket
Canyon
list.
story is one of the stories I find absolutely fascinating.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. And we were up in Oregon, and we went to Boring, Oregon, where the North American Bigfoot Center is. Yeah, North American Bigfoot Center. Yes. And that's a fantastic museum for anybody who's in that area, or if you just want to take a trip out there. It's amazing. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it's
so
really
beautiful.
good.
But he's got a huge display about that occurrence.
Yeah, we did what 2 or 3 shows on that, or just 2
Too, I think.
on Ape Canyon. Yeah, we've done 2
Mhm.
shows on Ape Canyon. That's well, then you can throw Mount St. Helens in there. You can do I think we did a show about that too. About
Yeah.
that
About all the
area.
stories of after the eruption, how many truckloads or helicopter loads of Bigfoot bodies were taken out of that area.
What?
There's
Oh, yeah.
tons of stories about it. After the eruption, when the National Guard went in and started the cleanup, that truckloads and helicopter loads of dead Bigfoot bodies were taken out of there. Other animals like bears and stuff were just piled up and burned. All the Bigfoot bodies were removed.
Well, how else are you gonna dissect them if you don't take them with you?
That's a fact.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the whole
Well, I
area.
firmly believe our government has known about them for a long time.
Oh, I'm sure.
Well, there's that theory, right? That Teddy, when he was setting up the national park system, set them up because of paranormal occurrences in those areas.
Well, Teddy was a big believer.
Funny you should mention that.
In fact, the last show we just did was a deep dive into the valley where the Bauman incident happened. Over the last 130 some years, there's been dozens of people go missing in and around that valley. So it's not just the Bauman incident. But I believe Teddy Roosevelt, I believe he was Bauman. I don't think, because he never gave Bauman a first name.
Okay. All right.
No one ever came forward claiming to be Bauman. And when Teddy was in college, when he went to, I believe it was Harvard, he was on the rowing team for those little narrow canoes, the sculls. He was the front man in the boat. And you know what the front man of that boat's called?
No.
Bauman?
That was his nickname in college.
That's really cool.
That's really neat.
Man, apparently paying attention in school and learning about the presidents helps.
Sounds boring.
Weird.
And one of the first things Teddy was credited with was helping to create the modern version of the National Park Service.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Where, we've got 88.6 million acres where habitat is preserved. And in a lot of those cases, you can't even fly drones over large sections of national parks.
Yeah, that's a fact. And
That's a huge no-no. They will they'll shoot them down.
Yeah, if you look at all right, so my newest kick is paranormal geology, right? That is my newest one. And if you, I don't know what that bubble is. It's so weird. What is that?
Yeah, I don't know what that is. It's not coming up on our end. It's only on your screen.
Yeah, thank you for acknowledging that, because I thought I was losing my mind there for a second.
There's like a bubble.
Well, it's entirely possible, Robbie. You might be losing your mind.
That's why I didn't say anything, because
I've been seeing it too. I'm like, that's not on our end. Where the hell's that coming from?
Is it too late to pretend that we don't see it?
Nope.
Everybody. Yeah, but if you look at the national parks, right, they're like huge deposits of all of these things that they're sort of referring to as paranormal geology, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Shusky's area. That whole place is full of
Columbia River Gorge.
Yeah, that place. Every 100 feet is a whole new climate change. It's the wildest. The geology is crazy. Messes with compasses. It's great.
Yeah. Well, they had so much intrusion from lava flow, and then they had glaciers coming through and depositing other layers of rock, and then more lava flow. So compasses don't work, right?
You paid attention to the details, and I was just like, cool stuff.
Because it was rocks, man. For some reason, it's super interesting.
You love rocks.
I do love rocks. Sharks and rocks.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
You love them.
I do.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
Hey, like I said, they call that I've been the shark nerd on the show since I started on the show. So
Sorry, I was
no,
refilling my Guinness glass.
I think we lost.
We lost them. Y'all, if you can hear us, you can come back in on the same link that we sent you before. Let's see. They can get logged back in.
I'm saying
The mysterious bubble popped and then they were gone. There they are. There you are.
Hi. We weren't sure what happens.
I see that you kind of froze up and then you were gone.
Yeah, same thing for us, for you, but I have a feeling it's my computer or something. Who knows? We're back.
the bubble popped.
At least you're back.
Yeah, the bubble popped, and y'all just
We're magic.
no, but anyway, yes.
Yeah,
While we were talking about
Geology.
sharks and rocks and stuff, there's nothing wrong because I've been the shark nerd since I've been on
Yeah.
the show.
Listen, let's just have our own podcast where we just talk about sharks. And it's really just sharks that we like. And then we exchange facts about the sharks that we like. And then talk to no one else ever. Just shark facts.
Just shark people.
Yeah. And then we can just be like, I found this picture of a shark. And you'll be like, I found this picture. And then we'll online high five.
We could kind of make it a play off of the old Dragnet, just the sharks, ma'am.
I like that one. Let's do that.
I know someone that want to be a part of that show. Greg Burhart from Scallywag. That dude loves
We love sharks.
Listen, anything from Scallywag. I don't know what that is, but okay.
Scallywag Tactical. They're one of our affiliates for the show. They make knives and they make all kinds of cool stuff.
Will they give us knives?
Maybe.
Shark knives?
They're always
Yes.
they're always looking. They're always looking for like YouTubers to be an affiliate for them. They'll give you a discount code. And... Craig's a good dude.
Yep. Which here you go.
We could sell the lady knives.
Yo, are they
They've
pink?
got them too.
Jenny, just for people like you and me, Jenny, they do have a knife called DA. What's that called?
That one's called
That's
the
called the
Mako.
shark tooth.
Yeah, the shark's tooth. That's right.
Okay.
The Mako or the Orcas one.
Yeah, I was thinking of the Orca.
That is the shark's tooth.
I like that one.
So see, you got to know he's a shark guy.
Harley, what the hell are you doing, buddy?
No, is
He's
it
trying
dog?
he's trying to crowd behind my chair and about to shove me into my keyboard.
Listen,
You let him.
just wants to talk to us.
Yeah, that's where.
I think he's just looking for a place to lay down near the AC vent. That's all he's doing.
That might be it. Too.
He wants to lay on the vent and hog it like he usually does.
Before DA moved into that bigger office that he's in right now, he was in a lot smaller room in their house. And I was down there and we were like, well, we're going to have a show. And he said, well, I guess we can work it out. Both of us in there. And it was a small room. And me
Like
and
a
DA,
closet.
neither one of us were small individuals, let's just put it that way. So we're kind of like sitting, y'all look like y'all got room, but we're kind of like huddled up.
Shoulder to shoulder.
Shoulder to shoulder with the microphone. Well, here comes Harley. He decides he wants to come in. He's trying to lay down in between me and DA in the
Of course.
computer tables here.
He's about 110 pounds of brat anyway, but he throws his weight around. He gets his way.
Yeah, you said it was a pit bull, right? They're just very large lap dogs.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh wait, we get to visual.
Here you are.
Oh,
There's little Harley.
Boy, why did I say it so weird?
That's my buddy.
It's a dog. That's why.
Yeah, so cute. So cute.
Rotten. Spoiled rotten. Yes, you are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Know what he's not as cute as? Baby goats. Oh, or sharks, but baby goats.
Why do you say that, Jenny?
I saw baby goats today. I did goat yoga for the first time ever.
Goat yoga.
Yeah.
What exactly is goat yoga?
I've
you
seen TV
try.
commercials, but I thought it was a joke.
No, you try to do actual yoga. A yoga teacher is telling you the moves to do, and so you intend. Just kidding. No, you're there because you want to see the baby goats, and then they try to get you to do yoga at the same time.
Yeah, you pretend like you're gonna do yoga,
and then the goats are like jumping on you and like, "Hey, what's up? I'm a baby goat." And
wow, that goat sounds like Dave Schrader.
It's weird. But let me try my Dave Schrader impression real quick. I'm Dave Schrader.
Oh my God, it's like he's here.
I know.
Wow, you're really good at that.
Yeah.
I always think of Jim Brewer on Saturday Night Live when he did Goat Boy.
Yeah. Yeah. These goats are less creepy though.
Yeah.
Because
Jim
they're
Brewer's pretty creepy.
Because they're babies. Yeah. Anyway, I had a great time. So did the goats. They ran and they played and they jumped.
Oh.
I know. Nothing spooky happened. It was just goats.
But cute.
Doesn't always have to be something spooky. Harley, what are you doing?
Jeff said, "So you do yoga in a barn, basically."
Yeah. Yeah.
Jeff's he's a farmer.
So you have access to baby goats.
Jeff's probably got access to a lot of stuff. Jeff, what you got access to?
Mostly dairy cattle.
Yeah, I know he's got. I knew that, but he's probably got other stuff too.
Do you have access to baby cows?
I'm sure he probably does.
Will you send them to me?
Our P.O. box is.
I have a backyard. They're very
Northwood. Yeah, Steve. Salmon sharks are related to great whites. They're in the same family as great whites and makos.
Shark fact, boom.
And they will attack humans. And they have attacked humans.
Only if humans, get into their space too much or look incredibly delicious.
They're not like on the top of the list, but they have. But it's usually stuff like,
delicious.
I saw this list somebody posted on Facebook, and it was like top 10 things to do to avoid a shark attack. And I was stunned that number one wasn't stay the hell out of the water.
That seems like common sense.
Because it's not like you're going to be sitting in your living room watching TV and you hear knock, 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 knock. Candygram.
Land shark.
Land shark. Candygram from Mongo.
I rewatched Land Shark again on YouTube not long ago. I'd forgotten how funny those
were pretty hilarious. Just a dolphin, ma'am.
I didn't order a dolphin. Land shark. Oh, okay.
Did the list mention whether or not you should be rubbing bacon grease on your body before you swim?
Well, who doesn't like bacon? I mean, if sharks don't attack the smell of bacon, then are they really sharks?
Get a tan.
Right. What are you going to use? Coconut oil?
Exactly.
Everybody does that.
Yeah.
I mean, sharks like coconuts too, I guess.
What are they, the coconut sharks?
They're not coconut crabs. They didn't kill Amelia Earhart.
Yeah.
And yes, Steve, my bucket list is to go cage diving in Guadalupe.
Yeah, I still think you're nuts for that.
I'm on board with that. Like I'm still.
Well, get with Robbie. He'll take you.
Yeah, no, like that. Then I want to go.
Oh yeah,
it's a big deal. Yeah.
Deal. Robbie really does want to get in the cage with the sharks, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, no, I get it. I really do too.
Yeah, but I want to go there because that's. I mean, if you're gonna, I mean, obviously, Hans Bay is like that's where everybody goes. But if you want to go and be just like, okay, and there's not a lot of people here, but there's a lot of big sharks. Guadalupe Island is that's the place. That's the first place they ever documented deep blue. And it's almost like a blue hole. I mean, it goes and goes and goes, and you see the videos. The shadows will just start circling around. down below,
Yeah.
and they'll just start gradually rising up, and you'll get these 15 and 18 footers that are just like circling up and up and up, and I'm like,
Yeah, no. No.
See, I want to go off.
Not happening.
Yeah, I want to go off of South Africa.
Gonna dive with the great whites.
Yeah. Yeah.
well,
Yeah, more power to you, but no. I will run into a building where someone is shooting at me, but I'm not going in the water with sharks.
It feels like a bad choice. I don't
See,
know.
I'll do both.
I've done it. I mean, but I would much rather do that than deal with a shark.
Yeah, I'm pretty neutral. I could do not the running into the shooting person.
I could get you to get in the water with the shark.
Oh, you totally could.
Yeah.
I'm not searching it out though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to take a big old pass on that one. No, thank you.
Hans Bay is in South Africa is just now starting to get its business back because of those 2 killer whales that were killing all the great whites.
I know.
Call them port and starboard.
Yeah, port and starboard, because they were 2 males, and it was, that's kind of an undocumented thing for 2 males. Well, for different reasons. 2 males being a rogue pod of 2, and usually male orcas, their dorsal fins don't flop like that in the wild. They only do that in the when they're in captivity. But both of their fins are flopped. One's flopped to the left, one's flopped right. That's why they call them port and starboard.
Okay.
So there's a lot of abnormalities and a lot of weird things, and nowhere else in the world do you have killer whales doing that. And it's just these 2 that were doing that, and just about decimated the entire great white population.
Yeah, well, because all the whites started to avoid the area as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that Dickie Chevelle that's always on Shark Week.
Mm-hmm.
He and I can't. It was like 40 or 50 miles away, and he did or maybe even more than that, but it was somewhere else, and he was doing. He like got the Discovery Channel, and they built this big underwater. Basically, he stayed underwater for like a week or so, just to see if he could catch video of any great whites in the area, because it was getting to the point where they thought they were just completely gone, and he was able to actually get footage of some great whites in the area. So it just proved that they had just moved just down where, for them 100 mile swim is not anything like it is to us, but they'd moved somewhere from 20 to 100 miles. I can't remember what the exact was, but they had moved down away from Hans Bay to get away from those killer whales.
Yeah. Have you what sharks have you been with, like in the water?
I did the Predators tour at SeaWorld. So bonnet heads, some reef sharks. I think there was some black or some. I can't remember if it was black tip or Caribbean. It was some of the reef sharks, and then just your standard aquarium type shark, and then whatever ones that I've been in the water that I didn't know about when you're just in the ocean and they're just swimming around you, and you just don't know and probably don't want to know. But which actually, now that we're talking about it, the biggest male great white that has ever been recorded. I didn't tell you this either, DA. It was headed towards North Carolina a week or 2 weeks ago. So it was in the Atlantic, headed towards what's that big nice area of North Carolina? The beaches that everybody goes. No, that's South Carolina. But where
Pawleys Island.
No, it's where Cape Hatteras used to be. I can't think of it.
Grand Banks?
The Outer Banks, that's it.
Outer Banks.
Yeah. It was headed towards the Outer Banks. And it was like 17, 18 foot male, which is big for a male. Because they typically don't get much bigger than 15 and a half to 16 feet. Deep blue is like 20 something feet, but she's a female.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was this is the largest recorded male great white
It's on its way. It's on its way to find you guys.
Hey,
Yeah.
how about that Greenland shark? Boy, it's pretty old, huh?
Boy, howdy. It is old. It was
I think it's
old.
been kicking around for what is about 500 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's older than me.
I can tell you some stories.
Or not. It's a shark. It's not doing much.
It's not?
No, it's just swimming.
That's unfortunate. So how about orbs?
I don't. They're all right, I guess.
I think I've seen them in the LBL, but I'm not 100% sure what that was. But I think I saw orbs. Same place he got his little attachment deal.
I don't think I've ever actually seen an orb. Now, I have seen, I guess you could call it an orb, floating down the Niagara River in Moon Valley, but there's been reports of them seeing an old, like, disembodied hand with a lantern floating down the river, like somebody in a boat was floating down the river, because that used to be a Civil War supply point. And, it's before that, it was all Osage Indian land. And there's a lot of history in that valley, even before the cannibals came in.
Or the evil dolls.
Or the evil dolls.
Yeah, the no-no neighborhood is really what it should be called. And also, what else is a disembodied hand supposed to be carrying other than a lantern?
That's true.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
There's a lot of creepy stories from that valley.
Yeah,
There's
and
even-
yet you
there's even-
insist on returning.
There's even a cult down there.
Oh, good.
Of course
Oh,
there
good.
was.
Of course.
What
Let
else?
me just go on back.
I'm
Well,
not
we
gonna
don't
lie,
go on
I really
all-
want to go to this place.
totally do
We're going on, and I don't go down there solo anymore either.
Smart.
Yeah, no.
I have. Not the brightest thing I've ever done.
Let's
Of course, I also went into LBL by myself at 2 a.m, so maybe my judgment isn't to be
And-
trusted.
And played a dying
Played a-
rabbit call.
Playing a dying rabbit predator call in Demumbers Bay and got chased out of LBL.
Yeah, that
Seems-
sounds right.
right. Yeah. So about that bacon oil.
About the bacon grease.
Oh, yeah.
Basically, it's what I did is ring the dinner bell.
Okay. You have to. Okay. Thanks.
Eh,
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So what other things do y'all have on tap? Are y'all going to any kind of conferences or going to any kind of investigations?
Yeah, we have conferences upcoming.
Yeah, like then every weekend of July we're going to be doing something, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, super excited about that. Where is that one? July 10th, I think.
Is that Rockford?
Yeah, we don't have a table or anything. We're just probably gonna head over there and hang out for a little bit. And then the very next weekend we are going to be at
Paranormal
Rockdown
in Broadhead, Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm. And that is the weekend of the
18th and 19th.
yeah, 18th, 19th, and 20th.
And the weekend after that is the Gettysburg Bash.
Yeah, the Gettysburg Battle Bash. We're going to be there too, which is awesome. It's a super good cause. Proceeds go to Wounded Warrior. So that's an awesome one. And then after that, I'm for sure going maybe TRESSA to the Bowling Green Bigfoot Fest because Mammoth Cave is right there.
There's going to be a good one in Ohio in October. What's it called, Robbie?
Spirit of the
Spirit of the
Oh, we heard about that one. Yeah.
Yeah, Robbie and I will be speaking at it.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Yep.
If you guys find yourself anywhere near Ohio and toward the end of October, we'd love to see you guys.
Nice.
Yeah, it's not that.
Russell Acord Acor, how he pronounces his last name from.
I'm not familiar.
Yeah, he's going
I'm
to
not
be
familiar
there.
who that gentleman
Our
is.
Wayne Tothero is going to be there, and there'll be quite a few names.
Have you seen the show? Is it not Finding Bigfoot? Is it
It's Expedition Bigfoot. We're teaching.
Yeah, Russell will be there.
We're doing a little joke.
We're doing a little jokey joke.
We're familiar.
Yeah. Little joke. Yeah. He's phenomenal to listen to. Is Maria going to be there?
No, just him as far as I know, unless they've booked her since. Someone asked me where in Ohio, and I can't remember the name.
Mercer County Fairgrounds?
Mercer County Fairgrounds.
Yep. It's
And it will be, let's see,
should be like the 25th and 26th, I think.
24th and 25th.
Okay.
Nice.
And if you get there a day earlier, they've got the VIP thing where you can hang out and talk to some of the speakers and stuff.
Oh, very
I
cool.
want
My favorite
to
part.
throw the link in the chat if you guys would like to attend. If anyone in chat would like to attend, the link should get you to the website where you can book and find out the dates and what all is available. And it was last year was the first year of it, but it was surprisingly big for a first year convention, and it's going to be even bigger this year because they had to get a bigger venue.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the first day when we got there this last year, there was quite a few people there. But on the second day, they had to open up like 4 other parking areas to get everybody in.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Wild.
Yeah.
Congrats to that convention.
Yeah.
It was really well done.
Yeah, she does a really good, and she makes it. It's great for what it is as far as being a Bigfoot convention, but she has stuff mixed in that kind of helps. Like there's car shows, and there was live music, and there was food trucks, and there was other vendors that So she mixed in enough to where it would,
campfire storytelling.
Yeah, campfire storytelling. So it's not. It didn't make it feel like it was exclusive that you had to be part of this community to just come and have a good time. It's like, if I don't believe in it, I can go and look at the cars. But it was bringing people in, and then once they're there, they start looking around, and seeing stuff, and they're like, "Oh, this is pretty cool." So I thought that was a really good touch doing it that way. Not making it to where it was so inclusive to, open it up where other people could come in.
Sure.
Papa Bear wants to know when you guys are going to be in Bowling Green.
Oh, that is, let me get the exact date because I just looked at it, but can't remember numbers. So it's the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd that I have written down on my calendar. So it's probably
July.
July.
Okay.
No. I'm sorry. August. And that one is August. Yeah, because we're going to be there. We're probably going to go hang out in Mammoth Cave for a little while and then do the convention. But yeah, we really enjoy it when people come talk to us about the show, when you find us on social media, send us a comment or a story or whatever. I have people who just send me shark photos all the time. It's fantastic because they listen to the show.
Yeah.
And it's amazing, but we love interacting with everybody.
Yes.
So
please.
Yeah, if you're going to one of these conferences and we have a table, come talk to us. We're bad at sitting in one place though. So, but also, if you just happen to see us at some of these, we'd love to chat.
Yes, please.
Mm-hmm. We will make terrible jokes.
Oh, the worst.
And maybe like a good one.
Maybe.
Probably not.
They do sound a lot like us, do you?
Yeah, pretty much us in a nutshell. And, I just put the link up. I also shared it in chat. Make sure you go over by Monsters Lounge. Give them a like, share, and subscribe. Doesn't cost you a thing, but a couple seconds of your time, and it really, really goes a long way to help get our channels farther into the algorithm. So let's get a bunch of people over there and give them a bunch of likes. Let's see if we can't knock them over 1,000 subscribers.
Yay! Yeah, we've got a little bit of everything. Something for everybody.
Yeah, and we're goofs.
We did an interesting show on mermaids.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mermaids and
that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So, do you guys believe in mermaids, or?
Yes, but I don't think that they're like Ariel.
Right.
Right.
They're not Disney.
Right. I don't think so either.
They're not Disney mermaids. I think that it's very possible that something. I like the aquatic ape theory a lot.
I was going to bring that up.
Oh yeah,
We
I
talked
like
about
that
that
theory
before.
a great deal. Yeah.
Yeah. To me, that makes more sense.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. And that's not to say that the monkeys are out there swimming around, which monkeys do swim around in the ocean. But then
Are monkeys that swim?
But yeah, that they've evolved something more like that. And I think it would be something more so the stuff of nightmares
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, rather than
Absolutely.
anything pleasant to encounter. So
I mean, just think of any sort of
deep
chimp
ocean, yeah.
that could tear your face off, and now it's in the ocean. Ugh. Nope.
Yeah, I think it would be very strange looking. But yes, absolutely. I think that's what we.
Thank you,
There's
everybody.
something. Oh my goodness,
Yay.
that's so great.
We're entertaining somewhat.
That was a weird dance I just did.
Ooh.
I don't like it. I'm not going to do that one again.
You are.
Yeah, I am.
It looks like we got a few good heading y'all's way. That's awesome.
This is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we have lots of really great guests on. Listen, you're gonna find something you like. Even the
More
stuff
than
I don't like,
likely.
I like, but it's fine.
Yeah,
You'll love it.
yeah, and
I
that's
haven't
really.
listened to all your videos, but I've listened to a few, and I enjoyed the ones I listened to.
Oh,
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I think you guys are very engaging.
Oh, I agree.
Thank you. I mean, I'm entertained by myself all the time.
You
but-
are.
Yeah.
You are.
Nobody entertains me more than me. I just ask my wife.
Mhm.
I'll be reading something, especially if I'm writing. I'll be writing something, and then I'll stop and start laughing. She goes, "You really do crack yourself up, don't you?" I'm like, "Well, somebody's gotta."
Yeah.
That's my favorite. I love that.
Mhm.
I mean, and that's a really cool thing, right? I'm sure you guys experience this all the time, but you get to talk to people and you hear about things that you've never heard about before and are so intensely intriguing, like that tongue click thing. Like I'm going to be
Yes.
thinking about that for, that's going to occur to me probably about like 2 a.m. and I'll be like, well, let me do some Googling. But like, that's crazy. And there's so many things that I don't know about that I get to learn about. I know next to nothing about
Not
ghost
me.
investigation.
I'm very smart, and I know everything.
She knows so much, and she keeps telling me she knows so much, but she doesn't actually tell me anything else.
It's not for you yet.
She keeps saying that too.
It's like, soon, young Padawan, you will learn.
But I don't get any information.
Listen, you'll get it when you need it. It's
Yeah.
how the universe works, Jenny. That's one thing I taught you just now. That's how the universe works.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah. All right. I guess. But yeah, we get to talk about all kinds of stuff that we know nothing about. Ghost investigation, no idea.
No.
But we get to talk to people who know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And
Every
cool
week,
stuff.
I absolutely can say every week I learn something completely new. And even if it's just a new theory, always just something really fascinating. I love it. It's the best time.
That's the thing about this field. If you're not constantly trying to learn something new, you've closed yourself off to anything new.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's no reason
Aren't
to
there-
close your off and not learn. What are you doing, people?
Yeah. Except math.
Yeah. Screw math.
Don't learn math.
It's gross.
It takes up space in your brain that
Ugh,
could be
push it
used for
out.
other things.
Yeah, like candy.
I think with facts.
We go straight to candy.
That's because we're children.
I get told that all the time. My wife tells people all the time she raised 4 boys, and I'm the
I didn't like your wife. Where is she?
doesn't come on camera. She hates doing that, but she's probably lurking in the chat, just laughing at me.
I love
Probably.
it. It's so adorable.
And me.
Oh no.
She
No.
refuses to let me get full of myself. I've got a bunch of books in print, and I go to do the conventions and stuff for the books. And occasionally, someone will say, "What's the DA stand for?" And she'll go, "Dumbass."
Oh no.
So she keeps me grounded, kind of like the Roman Empire when the guy walked next to the conquering general. You're only mortal. You're mortal. You're mortal. She keeps me in line. She doesn't let me get full of myself by constantly reminding me that DA stands for dumbass and other things.
Now, what was funny though was when we were standing in your living room getting ready to go out that I can't even remember where we were going that night. And
That's the
me,
night
you,
we
and
went
Noah-
to Combs Ferry by boat.
No, I don't. Well, it might have been. But anyway, Annette's sitting there, and me and DA were getting all our stuff together. Noah's in there, and she looks, and she goes, me and DA both stopped and looked at her, and she's like, "Look, I don't care what happens to you two morons, but you better bring my baby back out of this."
Absolutely.
thanks. I don't care what happens to us. She goes, no, I don't. Yeah, as long as you bring him out, that's all that
You
matters.
two morons know what you're doing. You don't get my baby eaten.
And if
Right.
you don't know what you're doing, that's your problem. You're adults. No.
Exactly. That was what I took out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So it was,
Yeah,
but that's missing it.
I like it.
Yeah.
Oh,
You.
So, what is your favorite subject to talk about? I mean, you've talked about UFOs and ghosts and Bigfoot and Dogman, but what's your favorite subject other than sharks?
got that caveat in there.
My personal favorite is probably aliens being interdimensional. Anything, because there's so many theories and we don't know anything about aliens.
Mhm.
Every theory about them, I want to hear all of them. I want to hear about the interdimensional. I want to hear quantum stuff. I want to hear past life stuff. I want to hear about the other side and aliens being there. I want to hear all of it. Fascinating. My favorite.
It's figured that if there's intelligent life in the universe that's capable of traveling interstellar distances, that we've got to be basically the Arkansas of the universe. And they probably roll their windows up and lock the doors when they go by our planet.
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And then some of them are tasked with looking over for us, and they're like,
Like, come on,
again?
dummies. Yeah,
am I
Mhm.
being punished for this? Why do I have
Right.
to go back there?
Probably.
It sucks there.
yeah,
I would imagine.
yeah.
Or maybe they're Atlanteans and they live under Antarctica. Who knows? No,
There's been dozens of sightings near Alaska
I
where
know.
they've seen dozens of UFOs come up out of the water and head up out of the atmosphere.
Mhm.
Yes.
I firmly believe that they do have underwater bases.
Oh, they absolutely do.
Absolutely.
Have you seen
the last
pictures off
year.
California?
Oh,
The
yeah.
underwater structures. It looks like a hall. I mean, pillars and everything. And they don't have no idea how deep that goes back.
Right.
I love it.
Kind of terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Antarctica is another one of our favorite topics. We've done multiple shows on.
We haven't really hit on it, and I really want to dig into it.
That's a good one.
We actually did a show where we looked at the tie-ins between Atlantis, Antarctica, and what was the other tie-in we brought into that one? There was something. There was a third thing that we tied into that, and I can't remember what it was.
Piri Reis Map.
Yep, that was it. Sorry, I knew there was a third thing.
With the Piri Reis Map?
No,
I'm not familiar.
what's that?
There was a Turkish admiral in the 8th century named Piri Reis, and he had in his possession a map that after he passed away, people were trying to figure out where the hell this map, what it covered. It showed ports, it showed established trade routes, it showed cities, and in the margins of this map are drawn creatures that look like Bigfoot and Dogman. They're drawn on this map, but they couldn't figure out where this map was. They're like, this is not a landmass we recognize. In 1972, the United States Navy was doing deep sonar checks on Antarctica and discovered that the Piri Reis map is Antarctica without ice on it.
That's wild. I've
That's
never
so
heard
fun.
of that.
Oh, that's so fun.
That is a fascinating subject. Just look up the Piri Reis map. It's PIRI, and then the other word is REIS. Piri Reis.
Matter of fact, was it next Thursday, DA, that we're going to be on Brett's show talking about it again? Or
We talked about Antarctica and the Piri Reis map.
Oh, that's fascinating. You guys all have to email us that date or message or something.
Pre-record, so we'll have to let you know when he releases the show.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
Be on with him on this coming Thursday. We'll record it, and when he has it up, we'll share it around our social media, and I'll send you all a link.
That would be perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
But we've covered the subject 2 or 3 times here on our show.
That would be fascinating. Yeah, for sure. My favorite stuff is cryptids and the folklore around it, and then obviously the geology stuff. I'm super into it right now.
What about you, Tress?
The aliens and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty fascinating. I mean, because there's so much we don't know. But it's funny that the government is now going, "Oh yeah, they're out there."
Oh yeah.
We've just been quietly saying it all along that they're really out there. But
Fooled you.
yeah, fooled you. They're but when I was a kid, the government was like, "Oh no, there's no such thing as UFOs," and now they're just like, "Yeah, they're out there."
Yeah, but still very much like,
The same
we're
thing.
not going to tell you enough. We're just
Yeah.
going to say that they're there.
Yeah.
They're doing
We're
the same
not
thing.
going to go into details. We're not.
Yeah, we refer to it as small disclosures, just a little bit at a time. They release this information that says they know more than they're telling. Like in 2019, right before COVID hit, and you can actually look this up. That actually took place on the Senate floor. They
Oh, frozen. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
guidelines and
Okay.
federal.
Kind of.
Uh-oh, we're losing DA.
At least it's not.
Oh, I thought it was us.
Yeah. No.
No, it was DA. You were
Okay.
freezing up and your
Was I?
Yeah.
Oh, well, in 2019, Congress was actually debating whether or not to change federal hunting guidelines to include near-human chimeras.
Really?
Really?
What's a near-human chimera? Something that looks kind of like us? Something that's almost human? What are they trying to include?
Mermaid? Monkey
Monkey
fish?
mermaid?
A lot of states passed laws protecting Bigfoot, except Oklahoma went the other direction. Oklahoma's got a $3 million bounty on one brought in alive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
God bless Oklahoma. They're like,
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
They could have been alive or dead.
Yeah.
they did say alive, but I don't want to. I've never wanted to be the guy that brings one in. I have no intention of shooting one just to drag in a corpse, because I think that would be a bad idea. The only way I'm ever going to shoot one is in self-defense or if I'm defending somebody else, because I don't think you're going to get out of the woods alive if you take that shot.
No, absolutely not. And it's like with anything, right? It's like with the disclosure stuff, like with somebody shooting and bringing in like Bigfoot. It's just like the aftermath of that and the pure insanity, and then all of the people rushing out to, say goodbye to the rest of the population and say goodbye to half of the populations of any other animal around, right?
Right.
Yeah. Dr. 45, this show is for entertainment purposes only.
That's right.
So we got it scrolling across the top now.
I firmly believe that if the government ever does admit formally that they exist, there's going to be one of two reactions from most people. They're either going to want to avoid the woods entirely, or you're going to get some redneck that's going to want to strap one to the hood of his truck and drive it through town.
100%.
I think that would be a huge mistake.
Well, I mean, think about what happened when people had a lot of time and access with COVID, right? And people were going to national parks again. The incidence of injuries from animals increased dramatically because people don't know how to be around wildlife.
Well, look how many people try to pet the fluffy cows in Yellowstone.
Yeah.
I mean, tourist talking season's kind of become a thing.
Yep.
Yeah, they had to relocate. We saw like barely anything in Arches because they relocated most of the wildlife because people cannot be trusted.
Right.
And not for nothing, like we've talked about before, DA, it's a $33 million a year industry.
Billion, not million. 33 billion.
No, are you sure it was 33 billion? I thought it was $33 million a year.
33 billion a year.
Either way, it's a lot of money that the National Park Service brings in a year. So, they got to do what they got to do to protect that big investment too. So, 20 people get it, as Doc would say, a year. That's kind of a drop in the bucket compared to what they're making. So,
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I would like to announce the founding of the national park in my backyard. It's a new one. It's not actually technically a national park, but we're working on that. I've got some signs.
Yet.
And it dresses in a bear costume.
That's right.
And jumps out. Cost is only $10 per visit, so I find that reasonable.
Yes, I do like picnic baskets as well, if you'd like to bring those.
Hey, boo boo. Let's get some picnic baskets.
I like picnic baskets.
I do.
I
They
know
have
you
fruit
really
inside
do.
of them.
They're like stacked everywhere in your house. It's weird. I mean to talk to you about that. Stop taking people's picnic baskets. I have to
can't.
follow along behind and give them like $50.
See, DA, it's not just us, DA, that derailed and gets off topic.
That's fine.
See, it's okay when it's them. When it's us, they just expect it.
If we had a show where we stayed on top of the entire show, that entire chat would be like, "What is wrong with him? What happened? What they're staying on topic. Where's the jokes? Where's that's what would they wouldn't be focused on what we were saying,
and it would be boring. So
Right.
you're welcome, everybody.
Yeah, and then no one would know to guard their picnic baskets around dress.
Is there booze in those picnic baskets? Because
It has to be.
That's what she's really looking for.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Wine.
solely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like cheese, so if there's cheese in there, and baked goods.
Summer sausage.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Again, our PO box is
Send cheese and shark videos.
that is correct. That is accurate.
It is
Undying loyalty, right
Mhm.
there.
Yep.
cheese and shark pics.
I'd like to announce our shoot off podcast called Shark Picks and Cheese. It's slightly different. I will
Shark
be
pics, cheese, and wine. Because you can't do that sober.
No,
Mm.
no, I can't. Because she
can't, I
talks
can.
about sharks a lot.
Yeah.
I'm sober all the time.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
I'm not.
Yeah. Robbie would get off on sharks, and we'll have to kind of yank him back. Like, all right, dude, this ain't about sharks tonight.
That happens. I've never had that happen with Jenny where I've had to
Wait, what? I don't know
reel
what you're
it in
talking about.
with the shark.
Are we still talking about cheese?
I didn't leave for a minute while you guys
Yeah,
were
we're always talking about cheese.
Where'd you go? Did you find a
Looking
picture?
for the cheese.
Picnic baskets.
Yes, I was eating cheese out of a picnic basket.
Sounds Gouda.
Yeah, so National Park in our backyard.
Yes,
Right.
$10.
Now you need your federal funding checks to maintain the park.
Correct.
Yes.
We'll work on that next.
Or $5 million a year ought to cover it.
Maybe.
Maybe maybe $1 million.
A lot of maintenance.
Yeah, a lot.
It's congressmen, folks. Let's get them a national park in their yard.
I need a new bear costume too.
Correct.
So
Correct. Well, I can get bat wings for the cat. Wait, I have bat
you
wings.
do have.
I also have a new species called a cat bat.
Oh,
Yeah. Cat bat.
Mhm.
New cryptid.
yep.
A cat bat wing.
It's just annoying. It's fine.
Like, it's not dangerous. It's just annoying.
Hey, what's this in your closet? I'm gonna tear it down. Hey, were you reading that? Not anymore. I'm Catbat.
Sounds like Harley. Oh, you just straightened out the area rug? Watch me as I roll it up into a ball and lay on it.
Right. Did you want that on the table? No,
No.
thank you.
Yeah.
No.
Were you eating that? I'm sorry. You shouldn't have left it where I could
No.
reach it.
Now I am.
Really,
I don't want it, but I don't want you to have it. Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Catbat.
Oh, you're eating chicken strips? As a coincidence, I happen to like chicken strips.
Lucky for you, I'm hungry.
Yeah. So you can share or I can take it. It's really up to you.
It's more of a forced share.
That's
Yeah.
right. You can give me a chicken strip or you can get a bit hand. It's your call. I don't mind either way, but it's up to
You
you.
have a choice. I'm just giving you a choice.
Yeah. I'm not the bad guy here. I mean, you have to make the choice.
Yes. You're welcome for the choice, by the way.
Yeah, I got in trouble for feeding Harley last time. Or not last time. That was the first time I ever came down, wasn't it?
Annette doesn't like us to feed him on the table, but he will beg. Oh.
Yeah.
And
He's
he gets sad, guys. Just
He's sitting there begging, so I gave him a piece of hamburger. She goes,
he heard
probably,
me.
what? She goes, did you feed my dog from the table? I said, no.
No.
Mm-mm.
Yes.
And then she'll turn around and do it. So he's not spoiled rotten at all.
No. Nah.
All right, you big butthead.
I was going to put on a different hat, but I lost the hat. You know why? Because Bat was here. Damn, that's why the hat's gone.
Cat bat.
Angela Monroe says I have to pay the fry tax to my male cat. Harley will sleep through a burglar, but if you unwrap a slice of cheese, he is right there like a shot. We call it the cheese tax. If you get cheese out, he has to have a slice. Just that's the way it works. I don't make the rules. I just got to live with it.
The cheese tax.
Got to pay the cheese tax.
That's true. I always include it in my picnic baskets.
We have a good time.
We have a great time.
Hey, oh, boo boo.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all need to watch sometime when Doc's on and me and him get on a movie kick.
Oh,
Yeah, we get a movie quote from somebody in the chat, and then I've lost Robbie and Doc for at least 20 minutes.
Yeah, we're sitting over like, and he's sitting in the private chat. Come on, guys. Pay attention. And neither one of us are looking.
Up here for a minute.
goodness.
We're throwing movie quotes back and forth to each other. Like all it usually takes is him to say, "It's really nice, Clark. Really nice."
We could do that, but I don't remember any.
Yeah, I don't remember words.
Words are hard.
Words are hard.
Not as hard as math.
No.
Math is the worst.
But math words are easy.
Like equation?
No, like numbers.
Like one.
Doc has a saying for that. He says, that math ain't mathin'.
Yeah.
Yeah, math don't math for me most times anyway. So
Sam. Down with math. Just kidding. Everybody keep doing it because I can't.
Yeah.
I'm like Bill Engvall.
Yeah, it's
Well, they put
important.
letters with it.
We need it in the world.
Just don't make me, please.
Right.
No wonder you can't solve this. There ain't nothing but letters and minus signs in this. How the hell you solve that?
You don't put numbers and letters together, idiots.
Right?
Yeah.
It's English and math. What are you talking about?
Like you're mixing math with Wheel of Fortune. I got to guess the letter to figure this prize out.
No, thank you. Down with numbers.
Oh, what's your favorite cryptid?
Mine is Mothman.
Yeah.
Really?
I feel like
I figured you should say cat bat.
No, that's my least favorite one.
Mine is cat bat.
That was a great impression.
You gotta be good something, right?
I love that.
All right.
All right. That was good.
Yeah, I like all the Mothmen. They're all team. I'm Team Mothman.
You are Team Mothman.
I am.
You've been that way since the beginning.
Yeah, that's true.
Have you been to Point Pleasant?
I have. I took the tour, and that I love to talk about that museum because it's basically a museum for a movie that was made once. It's so good. It's so hilarious.
So, have you heard about all of the Mothman sightings in Chicago?
Yes, I have.
It's pretty interesting.
I heard of one. I heard that there was some adorable blonde who's really funny and great. Had a sighting.
Who is that?
I don't. Tresse?
No, it's me, Tressa. I saw the Chicago Mothman.
It's you. Well, why did you just say so? So tell us about your Mothman sighting.
It was very brief. And I feel like the most exciting part of it was everything that happened after it. Because I was on my way to work. It was morning. And I saw what looked like a giant bat flying overhead. But there were so many trees with so much leaves and junk, those things, that you could only see it for a brief second. I don't know what just happened. But I was like, I need to keep this in my head because I forget things. And that was unusual. I have no idea what that was, but those wings were skin. That was not a bird.
No.
And I got to work, and I never heard of Mothman before this. This was years ago. And a friend of mine, as soon as I got into work, had emailed me an article about all the Mothman sightings in Chicago. And I read the whole thing, and I was like, what? This is exactly what I saw. Why am I getting this right now, this morning, today? And I just dug deep after that, and I've been obsessed ever since.
Where did you see it?
It was in Chicago on Milwaukee. If you're familiar with Chicago, it was on Milwaukee Ave, just south of Irving Park. There's a high school right there. It's actually in, there's a huge list of all the timeline of Mothman sightings in Chicago on the 14 Singular Society website. And mine is in there somewhere in like 20.
A lot of the sightings in Chicago have been near the airport.
Yes, and this was on the way to the airport. It's not super close, but it's on the way there. It's close-ish. So that was another thing that was just like, that's another coincidence. So yeah, I'm familiar.
What do you think Mothman is?
Say again?
What do you think Mothman is?
I think, that's rough because I feel like the Chicago Mothman is a completely different thing from West Virginia. And I think that maybe alien? I don't know for sure. I don't think it's completely just an earthbound cryptid. I think there's something different. And
People have tried to explain the Point Pleasant one as being a sandhill crane. I just don't buy it.
Yeah, that's what
that
I've heard
weird.
before. And I had someone tell me that's what I saw. And I know that sandhill cranes do not have skin wings, so I'm fairly certain they're wrong.
And they aren't that big. I mean, they're for a bird, they're pretty tall, but they're not 7 feet tall. I mean, like some of the accounts of how huge Mothman was.
Right.
I just buy the sandhill crane.
Yeah, just standing, they're supposed to be between 6 and 7 feet tall, and the wingspan.
And we're able to keep up with a car doing 70.
Right, and the
That's not a
wingspan
crane.
is around like 10 to 15 feet, depending. So there's no way that's a crane. Are you kidding? No.
Even condors don't have wingspans that big.
Mm-mm. It's like a human-sized bat is what it looks like.
Yeah.
So do you think it's harbinger of doom, or do you think it's trying to warn people when something bad is going to happen? Because I've heard both sides of the spectrum.
I don't think it's either. I think it's coincidence. And I also am famously always saying there's no such thing as coincidence, but I don't think that it brought anything anywhere. If anything, I don't even want to say that. I feel like it's just a series of events that happened in a very short period of time.
Like a coincidence?
No, there's no such thing as coincidence. What are you talking about?
Just I think it was Thursday. Did you see the thing about the meteor that hit over here?
I missed that.
Yeah, we had a meteor strike, or I don't know if it was a strike, if it was just in the sky or whatever. Anyway, meteor is sighted, and then coincidentally, there's that word again, massive power outage. we're at school because I know it's summertime, but my school was doing the a summer reading program, so I'm the lucky SRO that gets to stay in the school instead of going out and having to work the road during the summer. But we're sitting there, and all of a sudden the power just goes out. I'm like, that's weird. So get out of my office, go walk around. One of our custodians is there. She's like, and she's looking at her phone. She goes, "My power's out at my house." She lives in, the next city over. Well, by that time, I get an alert from my phone saying my power went out here, and I live about 15 miles from the school that I work in, or the city. Well, then my sergeant calls and she says, "Hey, are y'all is y'all's power out of school?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "What's the city?" She goes, "There's nothing in the city that has power right now." It was just in that area, 2,200 homes and businesses that went out. Coincidentally, right after this meteor went across, but turns out it was just some little thing. But everybody was like, "Just the start of the zombie apocalypse." I don't know, maybe, but it was weird that happened, and then the power went out like right after that and it was massive. Duke Power and Blue Ridge Electric, both two big power companies, both lost power for. This is weird.
I wonder if that's like a magnetic thing or if it hits something. I don't know. I have no idea what the details are for it.
I don't know. I don't know if it was that. I don't know if it caused something or if it just happened to be at the time, whatever this was that caused it to happen. I don't know, but it was pretty weird.
Yeah.
Greater impact could cause a low-grade EMP strike.
But they were able to fix it within 15, 20 minutes. So I don't think it was an EMP because they wouldn't have been able to fix it that quick if it'd been something like that, right?
And something out there. I don't know. Possible explanation.
What's your favorite cryptid, Jenny?
Bigfoot.
Oh, yeah.
And then Megalodon, obviously. Yeah. Obviously. I got the two. Twofer. Yeah.
The
twofer. Yeah, I love especially any of the cryptids that, I mean, I like the folklore ones a lot. Not saying that those two are not within that category, but also anything that could be a relic species, right? Like that. Yeah, that whole deal. Just because I feel like I don't know, it's just exciting to think about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What do you think Bigfoot is?
A relic primate species, something that just lasted throughout the years in small population, but definitely.
Have you seen the book Them and Us by Danny Vendramini?
Mm-mm.
Danny did a forensic reconstruction based off modern technology of a Cro-Magnon man's skull.
Mm-hmm.
Not what the old British Museum did back in the 1800s. He did a modern forensic reconstruction, and it looks like what people describe as a Bigfoot. So I personally think Bigfoot is a relic hominid population.
Yeah. Like it just makes more sense, especially if you look at some of the behaviors and some of the evidence that people have found. It follows along in that line.
I completely agree.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, especially women that I admire very, very much are both believers that it's a and Jane Goodall and Dr. Maria Mayer. So
they're all right.
Yeah.
Well, if you got a couple prominent primatologists that both believe that not only is it possible that it's out there, but likely, that to me that speaks a very high likelihood that that it is some sort of primate, some sort of living primate. Of course, if you look at the genetic scale, technically humans are high-end primates. I mean, exactly where they deviated from the family tree, so to speak. Are they closer to us? Are they closer to gorillas? Or are they something else entirely, like Denisovans that branched off early? but apparently, from what Native American lore is talked about, how Native Americans would be abducted and later returned to their village pregnant. If they're genetically close enough, then that means they're definitely, on the human side of the spectrum, less on the gorilla side.
Well, yeah, and I mean, you look at how many things come to scientific recognition after the fact, right? Like and more and more recently. I mean, I think we now have 7 different types of
Humanoids.
Yeah, humanoids. As opposed to like 15 years ago, it was like 4.
Right.
Those types of things keep popping up, and especially when you look at other species oftentimes being discovered now that have been talked about, like in native anything, like native populations will be like, yeah, we have this thing, and people will be like, no, that sounds crazy, and then they'll do some research, they'll go in and do an expedition, and there's the thing.
Alice 420 Stoner says, if that's the case, how did we advance technologically and they're still basically cavemen?
Evolution. It just happens. Roll of the dice, right?
Look at modern day Africa or the Amazon rainforest or Borneo or parts of the outback of Australia. There are still tribes of people that live like cavemen. No modern technology whatsoever. And I think the only reason that we evolved the technology we have was necessity. And they have not required that necessity to evolve.
Well, yeah, and you're looking at choices, right?
Right.
A lot of those tribes that you speak about have chosen to not go for our technology because they see the negative side of it.
Right. There's a societal thing.
Yeah, it's a choice. Well. Yeah, it's a choice rather than anything else. It's not necessarily developments. It's right. Just, hey, we don't really want to be a part of this.
We'd rather be a community than capitalism.
They live much closer to nature than we do.
Yeah.
So the necessity for that technology just isn't there.
Right.
A lot of times our technology isn't actually necessary. We're just doing it because we want it.
Right. And there's huge.
We've also reached a certain where we're doing things, like you're saying, just because we want to, not because we need to. Yeah. But, if there are lots of Native American stories of Bigfoot using flint knapping techniques to make arrows. Sure. The Josqua would coat itself in tree sap and then put rocks on the tree sap to stop bows and arrows. I mean, they are industrious, but they only have a limited application of technology because they don't need it.
Mm-hmm. Right. And then think about, like, if you're looking at it like a primate, right? And it's evolved to a certain point. I mean, there are species of monkeys that use tools, but don't build houses, right? Like, I mean, right. Yeah.
And if there's a plethora of caves available, why would they need to build houses?
Well, yeah, but like, what I mean is because they're not human. I don't know. Roll the dice, right?
Exactly. I think that particular question is a subject we could probably debate for hours. The argument could be made that they lack the capacity. I've also heard people describe hands, Sasquatch hands. Their morphology is very different than ours. If you look at a gorilla's hand, it's not really adapted to do what we do. That's why most people I've read encounters where they said Bigfoot threw rocks at them. There was an arch to it. They're throwing underhand because they don't really have the full arm range that we do. Yeah. They're much bigger than we are, and every rock I've had come my direction didn't come sizzling in like a fastball. It came in at an arch, came zipping out of the trees, coming back down at an angle.
Right, and you're talking about primate versus humanoid, right?
Right.
So evolution. It's my evolution song.
It's
That's
really
her
Nice
good.
thing.
I know, it's great.
Well, y'all, we're coming up on the 2-hour mark, and we usually start winding things down. Tell us a little bit more about your channel, where all we can find you, and everything, and I'll put that up in the chat again. And if you guys haven't had a chance, go by, give them a like, share, and subscribe, and tell us a little bit about yourself before we start winding things down.
Yeah, absolutely. We are both on social media, Facebook, Instagram. Facebook is probably the easiest way to contact both of us. Individually, Instagram is probably the best way to contact the show, or just email us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Monsters Lounge Podcast, and we have a website, monstersloungepodcast.com. That's where we are on Instagram and Facebook as well. Find us on anything that you listen to podcasts on.
And YouTube. Don't forget
And
YouTube.
YouTube.
That's
And
where you'll
YouTube.
find our lives if you don't go on social media in general. And they all live there forever.
Yeah, we don't take any of those bad boys down. We're also on the Paranormal 60 network, so you can find us there.
That's right.
What?
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. There's the bubble again.
Uh-oh.
Is it the cat?
What is that? That's bizarre. Hello, kitty cat.
The bat cat.
Yeah.
The cat is not licking the bubble, but he's sure cute. Look at him. Oh, he made the bubble.
Well, folks, before we start winding down, I want to remind you guys to go check out our affiliates. Check out the good folks over at Dark Angel Medical. They're packaging birthdays in boxes. You never know when a med kit might be there to save your own life, let alone someone you care about. So check out darkangelmedical.com. Use discount code CRYPTID20 for 20% off your entire purchase. Also, check out scalawagtactical.com. Some of the best knives you're going to find in the business. And let Craig know that we sent you, and check them out and use discount code DARoberts10. We're very proud of supporting our veteran owned and our law enforcement owned or first responder owned businesses. So that's generally how we choose our criteria for our affiliates. Also check out the good folks over at sigwoarms.com. They just had an event today. You guys got to check those out because Sigwo is a lot of fun. And if you are into the Codename Wild Hunt books and you want an AR or an MP5 made with the Wild Hunt logos, those are your guys. So reach out to sigwoarms.com, get a hold of Cody, and let him know we sent you. And folks, as we wind things down, there's one thing I always like to talk about, and that is the 22 a Day Foundation. We lose 22 veterans a day to suicide, and that is 22 too many. So check on your friends and family that are first responders. Check on the ones that have worn a uniform. Check on anybody that has been a veteran or active duty, and let them know you're thinking about them. Let them know you care, because you never know, hey, are you okay? Just as a simple text might be what keeps them off the edge that day, because we shouldn't let the hard days win, and at least 22 times a day they are. So again, check on your friends and family who serve time in uniform, and let them know you're there for them, because 22 a day needs to be 0 a day. And as we wind things down, something we've been doing for a while.
Books.
And, forgot about the books. Make sure you check out Robbie's books. You can find him on Amazon.com under Robbie Jed Raines author, or you can find all his books by their titles. They should be popping up in the chat. The mods should be popping those up, and you can find all of my stuff at DARoberts.net. And as we are getting ready to rebrand the show is going to be changing the name to the Nightmare Hunter. Watch for the nightmarehunter.com, which will have both links to Robbie's books, my books, Dark Angel Medical. All of our affiliates will have links off that new website when it's up. And be watching out for that. So appreciate you guys, and make sure you guys check all those out, and go by TRESSA and JENI's channel, Monsters Lounge. Make sure you give them like, share, and subscribe. Like I said, let's see how many we can get people over there to boost their numbers. Let's see if we can get them to 1,000 subscribers. That would be awesome. But as we wind things down, there's something we've been doing for a while, and something I want to continue to do. And at the end of the night, we like to close out the show with a toast. And the toast is from an old Irish drinking song called The Parting Glass. And when you listen to the lyrics, it's not just about saying goodbye to the ones that you're leaving at the bar at the end of the night. It's about saying goodbye to the ones we've lost along the way. So if you all would join us, we'll raise a glass. And this is for the ones we've lost along the way. And the quote says, "But since it fell into my lot that I should rise and you should not, I'll gently rise and softly call. Good night and joy be to you all." Good night, everyone. Salam Jama, and we will see you guys on Wednesday night. Good night.
Anja.
Thank you for joining us. Catch us again Wednesdays and Saturdays on DAExMachiNation. A special thanks to all our channel members and Patreon supporters. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe.